What Israel is facing right now is nothing new. They've been facing that for millennia. Why? Why just them? Why were there no huge marches in Dublin yesterday for the people of Sudan or Nigeria? Why? Why is it only the Jews that people mobilize and have these hate marches? That's what they are, waving flags of these hateful Islamic jihadi groups. Why is it just the Jews? I'll tell you why. This is why. The cross is why. Jesus is why. The Savior of the world did not come as a South American or an Eastern European or Irish or Asian. He came as a Jew. The sin of the world was paid for in the land of Israel. That's why there's a battle over Israel. That's why there's a battle over Jerusalem. The world may not understand, but we should.
No more! Israel is supremacy! Free! Palestine! Free! Palestine! On the river, Palestine!
So I've got my refugees welcome poster, as you can see. I was speaking to the organisers there and somebody kindly gave me this. So I'm going to make my way down into, if you just see what I'm doing, I'm making my way down into, where the protest is, just to see, can I speak to a few people with reference what it is that they are here for. So the crowd, as you'll see, it's starting to get bigger, so it is. I noticed that there's a lot of representatives here, Unite the Union here, and this is one of their banners. Could I put you on camera whilst you talk about it? Good man, thanks very much.
What would you want me to talk about?
Look, I mean, I've taken some images of the banner here.
This is the Unite Scotland regional banner. Unite Scotland, I'm the Unite Retired Members branch, but Unite Scotland are supporting this protest. They've called in the council to stop these bastards marching because they've not got legitimate concerns.
I hope you don't mind me saying this, but you're standing there and there's a fear in your eyes.
Sometimes the thoughts that go into your head when you do look into stuff and you do research stuff. And to be quite honest, if the shit that happened in England started to happen here, I don't want my girls a part of it, and I would take me and my girls off.
Do you have a common goal there, do you think?
No, we don't have a common goal with people who want to murder refugees. We've got to be pretty serious about what's going on here. And I think the media has a responsibility to not just both sidesism, to not be like, well, this is what one group has to say, this is what another group has to say. Yeah. We've seen what the organised far right want to do, which is what they want to do is set fire to refugee hotels and murder people.
I'm in a place in Poland which is known as Krakow. And more significantly, I'm in a place in Poland, in Krakow, known as the Jewish Quarter. Now, I would have planned this trip 4 weeks ago. And the reason why I wanted to come here was to explore the striking similarities from what happened in the past and what is happening right now in the United Kingdom. Not just what is happening in the United Kingdom, but what's happening around the Western world.
They just know it as a slogan, like a nursery rhyme.
It's a catchy phrase.
But also when you ask these people when they shout from the river to the sea, you say, well, which river are you talking about? Which sea are you talking about? And they don't know. They have no idea.
And from which river and to which sea does that actually mean?
The rivers. From
the River Jordan, I think,
The rivers in and around Palestine and Israel and Jordan. I mean they're entitled to
and does that incorporate taking over the land of Israel to achieve that?
But I don't think that they are.
So we've just arrived in a place called Birkenau, and you'll see the railway tracks coming into really the middle of Birkenau. Now, Birkenau is really the industrialisation of the slaughter that was carried out here in the 1940s. as you'll have heard in the previous gas chamber, they said that they could only incinerate the bodies of somewhere in the region of 300 plus people per day. So they really made this place so that they could, well, kill a lot more people. You can see the track there, and then the iconic archway there on the building. You'll notice the various watchtowers as you come around here, the fencing, the electric fencing. I mean, we do know that the Nazis, they had a huge propaganda campaign against Jewish people specifically, turning everyone else against them. And that's what we see in 2025. I mean, just a few weeks ago, we seen the murder of Jewish people in Manchester. And if we would listen, say, for example, to the BBC, the mainstream media, what you'll hear is the BBC reporting on the Hamas-controlled health ministry, where they're taking really as fact what Hamas are saying, what the people who are designated as a terrorist organisation are saying, and they're pumping it out through your BBC channels. And people are listening to the propaganda. People then are blaming every single Jewish person for the actions of the Israeli government. I mean, we do hear that whenever the likes of our BBC would report and they talk about, you know, with the various commentators that's on our news channels, they talk about genocide. But it's only genocide from one source, one end of this equation. I mean, there's no mention of what actually happened where Hamas, the terrorist organisation, went into Israel on a spree of murder and mayhem and rape and pillaging. Then you wonder why the national broadcaster would permit such a thing to wind people up against every single Jewish person. What's this all about today?
It's to do with the genocide in Palestine. Israel is perpetrating a genocide in Palestine.
You know, there's also the other side of the story, Hamas and what they did, say, on the 7th of October. I mean, do you think that that's wrong?
That's like trying to accuse us of being part of the IRA back in the 70s, 80s. It's not an argument anymore.
Are Hamas terrorists?
I think so. I think what they committed on October the 7th was a terrorist act, no more than these children, the Palestinian children, are not guilty. Neither were the Israeli kids that were out there just enjoying themselves. Terrorist organisations do not represent the people. But the government of Israel represents its people. It's people, the Israeli people, who have stood by and allowed their government to behave this way, are partly to blame.
And just on that, I mean, can we blame ordinary Jewish people on what the Israeli government are doing?
Indeed, isn't that the question? When we're out protesting what our governments are doing, can you blame us for what's going on? Yeah, it's a complicated question. Are they to blame, you know, are we to blame for their government? But there hasn't been enough Israeli protests till very, very recently. They were turning an absolute blind eye to people starving 20 kilometres from where they were sitting having their coffee. It's very hard to understand what's going on. So I don't understand. Are they to blame? I don't know. But I think they could have done an awful lot more.
Jews are a race that must be totally exterminated. Governor General in Nazi-occupied Poland, 1944. So I've had to put my coat on, a jumper, t-shirt, like a windbreaker, a body warmer, a hat, because it's very, very cold here in Poland. Although it looks like a good day, you know, the sun's out, but very, very cold. And again, I'm really just looking around the concentration camp, the industrialization of murder, of slaughter. Some would say of extermination. So in the background, you'll see a little carriage which would have been towed in here. This is the type of carriage with people on board. You see the doors. I mean, the doors aren't actually opened, but a train would have rolled in. You see the tracks. And these carriages, these type of carriages were loaded with people. The Nazis, they took the people off and they went through what type of people was being offloaded. As said earlier, if the people were of use to the Nazis, you know, could they work? Or, you know, were they women? Were they children? Were they pregnant? Were they disabled? And if they were of no use, they took them straight away and they put them to death in the gas chambers. It's late in the day in Birkenau, and it's starting to get dark. So really what I'm going to do is I'm going to move down and really get some imagery of the wreckage. What it was that the Nazis actually tried to destroy before that they moved out of this place, when this place was liberated. I'm just going to spin around there and let people get a look for themselves. So what you're seeing just in front of you there, and there is a few headstones, is that apparently this is the area where a lot of the ashes from the gas chambers would have been spread. So here we have right in front of you, you've got really a large graveyard from the past. And as we walk around and look around, I have been here before, and we're going to be heading towards some of the places where the prisoners were housed, where the prisoners actually slept. And well, you're going to see the conditions that they were kept in. which were horrific really in itself. These buildings here have had some renovation, whereas if you look across here, you'll see a lot of buildings in dilapidated type state. So you'll see the type of conditions that these prisoners were housed in. I mean, that's typically a bunk. You know, it's hard to see. It's very, very dark in here. But yeah, a good view of that would be, if we just look that way. That's the conditions. So that's my time finished at Birkenau. We just finished in really showing you the type of conditions that the prisoners were kept for work purposes, were actually kept in. I mean, this place is huge, absolutely huge. And really the focus for me would be 2025 in our world. We often hear talk about genocide on the mainstream media. We hear claims of genocide from certain sections of our community or our respective communities. But what happened here in the 1940s, well, that is what genocide actually looks like. And when we look back in history's patterns, it's very, very hard not to see that the people that were largely targeted in a place like this, well, it's hard to really not see that today in 2025, there's a huge section of the world, the Western world, the world in general, who simply don't like the Jewish people. They blame all Jewish people for what they call the actions of, you know, the Israeli government. And that's the thing that I want to show with what I've been doing here in both Auschwitz and in Birkenau. So I'm just walking down through the camp on my way out. And again, it's hard not to notice how large this place is. Last time I was here would have been July time, 2017. The weather was good. Well, it's dry. I mean, that's, I guess, the main thing. It's not raining, but it's pretty cold in mid-October 2025 in Poland, in this place called Birkenau. You know, the amount of people that would have been on these tours today, and the amount of people that has passed by us. And one of the things that, you know, a lot of people might be surprised with is, well, there was very, very little restrictions in terms of what it is that you're permitted to film here. I mean, if the tour guide said, and I think they only said this once, this is an area where you can't film, you respect the wishes. And where the firing squad, where the firing wall was in that yard, just outside one of those buildings in Auschwitz, one of the other requirements was that you weren't permitted to speak really on that yard. So again, that's what you do. You respect what it is that you're being told by the tour guides. One of the things that I would have spoke about on the way in is you'll notice chimneys, brick chimneys still standing. You'll notice the footings of buildings. And then if we spin around the other side, you'll see these buildings, which really would have looked like what used to be there. And well, this place is littered with those type of ruins. So it was a huge big place. A big walk up through it, to be exact. Now we're nearing the front entrance. You'll see it there in the distance, as I say, that iconic tower on that building. And you know, the archway, you'll see that in some of the films that has been produced with reference to this place. So there we go. That was Auschwitz and Birkenau. And as for me, it's, well, tea time. Back into, I suppose it's about just over an hour's journey. I think it's an hour and 20 minutes for a quick bite to eat. And maybe, who knows, maybe a glass of wine. So really that's the tour, that's it over. We're going out through the gates and we're going towards our bus. One of the watchtowers, the fencing, the electric fencing. And as we walk around here, the iconic building in the distance. I was really hoping to put the drone up, you know, along this fencing, showing this area here and all the watchtowers right down that avenue. But I was told by the man who brought us here that flying of a drone isn't actually permitted in this area. So there it is in the distance, Birkenau. My second time here, and well, if I'm honest, I think I've seen enough of this place. From the river to the sea, Palestine should be free. You know, some would say that the only people that Palestine should be free from is the terrorist organisation that is Hamas. Have you anything to say? Well, not today, Josephine. But thanks anyway for speaking to us, or for tailing us and keeping us all right.
Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! From the river to the sea!
What Israel is facing right now is nothing new. They've been facing that for millennia. Why? Why just them? Why were there no huge marches in Dublin yesterday for the people of Sudan or Nigeria? Why? Why is it only the Jews that people mobilize and have these hate marches? That's what they are, waving flags of these hateful Islamic jihadi groups. Why is it just the Jews? I'll tell you why. This is why. The cross is why. Jesus is why. The Savior of the world did not come as a South American or an Eastern European or Irish or Asian. He came as a Jew. The sin of the world was paid for in the land of Israel. That's why there's a battle over Israel. That's why there's a battle over Jerusalem. The world may not understand, but we should.
Can't kill the truth with a hollow drone. Hands or eyes clenched in fists. History's patterns, they won't be missed.